Hi, it's Jen, the Holistic Health Boss, your functional diagnostic health expert and practitioner. And this week I'm talking to you about how to support and heal your thyroid step 2, because January is Thyroid Awareness Month and it's the last day of January. Now, as I mentioned in my previous blog, it's estimated that 1 in 3 women have a thyroid disorder such as hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, or Hashimoto's. Men are less likely to have thyroid issues, but I've seen my fair share of men struggling with them too. Now, I'm a thyroid statistic myself, but I am grateful to say that within 6 months of being diagnosed with Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, I was in remission, and now my thyroid test results couldn't be more perfect. But unfortunately, not all women or men have their thyroid properly checked, and those who are diagnosed with a thyroid disorder aren't always provided the right lab tests or resources in order to get their thyroid issues under control as quickly as I did, or ever at all. Most people who are diagnosed are immediately prescribed thyroid medication, which can provide immediate relief up front for those who might be suffering with thyroid issues. But medication is not necessarily a long-term solution, and it certainly does not solve the root of the problem. In fact, medication can become less effective over time as the thyroid continues to deteriorate as a result of the root causes not being addressed. And over-medicating can even trigger what's called secondary hypothyroidism. Medication doesn't address why you might have maybe low thyroid hormone in the first place, and if you have an autoimmune disorder, it doesn't stop the body from attacking healthy tissue. That's simply not the mechanism of thyroid medication or most medication in general. The good news is, however, there are natural ways to support your thyroid health to prevent issues from happening, and even in some cases or most cases reverse an existing thyroid disorder. So I want to help you elevate your thyroid knowledge so that you can avoid becoming a thyroid statistic like I have, or so you can heal your thyroid and get back to feeling like yourself again too. So in this 3-part blog series, I'm sharing with you the major steps that I took and that I guide my clients through to support and heal the thyroid naturally. In part 1 of this blog series last week, I addressed step number 1, knowing your thyroid numbers. And knowing your numbers is important for a couple of reasons. One is to understand the type of thyroid imbalance, whether it's hypo, hyper, or autoimmune that you might have. And 2 is to see how severe your thyroid situation is so you know how much to support your thyroid and how much it needs. And 3 is to get a baseline so that you can measure progress with the different therapies that you might introduce to try and reverse it or heal the thyroid. Now, progress is only made in what you measure, so it's extremely important to know your numbers to start with. Now, this week, I'm going to be discussing step 2 of 3. When I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's hypothyroidism back in 2016, I immediately felt overwhelmed with a sense of fear and actually some failure too. I was afraid of what my life would look like moving forward. I wondered if I was maybe doomed to a life full of relentless weight gain, hair loss, being cold constantly, and tired all of the time. I felt as if I had failed myself and my body in some kind of way, because after all, I was the healthiest person I knew, so I questioned where I had gone wrong to cause this. But then I remembered one really important thing. Although the statistics for being diagnosed with a thyroid disorder are high, it's not actually a death sentence and you're not doomed. The majority of thyroid disorders are a result of your lifestyle choices or factors such as the foods that you choose to eat, the quality and quantity of sleep that you're getting, the frequency and intensity of the exercise that you're doing, how you deal with stress and emotions or how you avoid them, toxins you're exposed to and your body's capacity to detox them. And then there's other underlying things like hormone imbalances, a sluggish liver, poor digestion, and an overwhelmed immune system that can be addressed as well. Which meant that I actually had more control over my thyroid health than my fears led me to believe, and so do you, which is what I want to share with you. At first, the list of contributing factors might seem daunting or make you feel guilty about the choices you've made or leave you wondering about where to start. But the silver lining is that with a little education, the right lab tests, and resources, you can step by step take back control of your thyroid health one day at a time. So this week, as I mentioned, I want to share with you the second major step that I took to boost my thyroid health so that I could feel like myself again, medication free, and that has also helped others to do the exact same thing. So let's dive into step 2. Now, step 2 is to control what you can. Despite what you might think, you do have control over the food that you put in your body, the sleep that you get, the way you move your body, how you deal with stress and emotions, and even some of the toxins in your environment, all of which can hinder thyroid function over time. So let's be real though, right? Because it's impossible to be perfect and all of those things every minute of the day. So instead of striving for perfection in what you eat or how you sleep or how you exercise, simply trade it for presence. Be present and start to notice what is going on in your lifestyle, what might be impacting your thyroid health, and how you can make choices to support your body in the ways that it needs most so that your thyroid can function optimally. In the realm of thyroid supporting lifestyle choices, here are the top 4 that have made the biggest impacts on my thyroid health and the people that I have worked with. 1 is to eat a modified autoimmune paleo diet for 30 to 90 days to eliminate some of the most common inflammatory foods, especially when the body's already inflamed. And this could include things like grains, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, and nightshade vegetables. And especially if you've been diagnosed with a thyroid issue. And if you have not been diagnosed, then simply avoiding or significantly reducing the consumption of gluten, dairy, sugar, soy to prevent one from happening. 2 is to get high quality sleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to promote a natural cortisol rhythm and balance within all the hormones that interact with the thyroid. 3 is to dial back your exercise intensity for a period of time to reduce the burden of stress on the body and promote recovery, or make sure that you're taking ample days off. And 4 is to minimize exposure to endocrine disrupting toxins by drinking water and cooking with water that's filtered and bathing in filtered water, and going through and cleaning up and using non-toxic personal hair care, body care, and all different types of products. Now, it might be unrealistic to think that you can make all these changes overnight, and I definitely didn't. But step by step, you can start to shift and address the factors that lead to poor thyroid health. Pick one thing per week and make it a habit. And once it becomes just part of what you do, move on to the next thing in the list that would support your thyroid health the most. As I said before, knowing your numbers is really important, and it allows you to create a strategic thyroid supporting plan, take empowered action towards your thyroid health goals, track your progress, and make course correction along the way as needed depending on how your progress is going. With the right lab tests and resources, you can then make educated and conscious decisions about what lifestyle factors you might need to shift in order to feel your best ultimately. So, and lastly, just remember that your thyroid didn't wake up one day and just decide to stop working. The culmination of the lifestyle choices that you have made over what could actually be a really long period of time have ultimately led to its demise. And so it will take time to heal. Have patience with yourself and just keep working on it. Now stay tuned for part 3 next week to wrap up this blog series so that you can support or heal your thyroid as best as possible and live your fullest life. Hope you guys found that helpful. I'll see you next week on the blog.